Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever the time of the day it is to you folks. So here we are once again, another setup how to Australia this time around. And yeah, first off, um, 2 weeks back I did a faster time, and today, surprise, surprise, I actually got a new pedal. So Trustmaster, load cells, blah blah blah. Uh, Sort of a big upgrade, or we can say a light upgrade from the old T3PA pedals. And straight away, it took a bit of getting used to, a bit of, I think there's a bit more adjustments I need to do in terms of the settings, the stiffness, and all that stuff. I'm new to that, all this load cell world. So, nevertheless, I think we found some time in the areas that I did not think I could have found time. I think in sector 2 is where I gained the most time. Yeah, and in sector 3 I just lost it a bit, and just being a bit cautious on the brakes, not really fully in tune with the pedals just yet. It's barely been 2-3 hours I'm using it. So yeah, regardless, here is a setup and how you can tackle Australia in the dry conditions, and we'll also go over how you can tackle it in the wet conditions. Now for the aerodynamics, you want to go somewhat of a mid-level of downforce around here in Australia. There are a lot of long straights here. Main one being before the fast left right chicane of turn 9-10, is it? That is the longest straight on the track, but without DRS. So if you have pretty good straight line speed and you can carry the momentum through, stay close to someone and be fast on the exit of the fast left right chicane, chances are you will make an overtake. But also you will need a lot of downforce, not a lot, some amount of downforce to make sure you are quick through the corners. Let's say turn 1 and 2, turn 3, 4, pretty much all the slow corners, where you will be needing more mechanical grip, and also aerodynamic grip as your tires start to wear down. And yeah, a bit of downforce doesn't hurt around here. Aero, as usual, if you go higher on the aerodynamics, it's harder to recharge your battery. That's the trade-off that you have to give and take. If you're able to follow someone closely, chances are you'll be in their DRS and you can save just the same amount of battery. But if you have low downforce, chances are it's harder for you to follow them, but with battery power you can close back the gap on the straight. So it's always a give and take around here. I'll prefer to go with under my current circumstances, slightly higher downforce is what I'll go with, just to be safe with these new pedals as well, and while I'm still getting up to speed with it. And a transmission, the usual 55, 50, and nothing fancy around here. I've tried 52, the usual trickery around here, but it doesn't really work, especially in the slower corners around here. So I'll prefer to keep it at 55. 56 also just works nicely. 57 even more stable. In the race, I'll definitely prefer to start off at 55, and then through the MFD you can adjust it to 60 in the race. It'll be much more stable. Off throttle, keep it at 50, will be better for qualifying, just to get the best lap time that you can possibly get out of your car. You do not want any understeer normally in qualifying, so 50 is the best way to go. 51 will be better for a race condition if you want to try it. 50 also works. 51 is a little bit more stable if you feel that might be the problem, stability in the race. You can always try 51, and I'll probably try that out as well. And suspension geometry, the usual, no changes here. Right, left, just keep it the same. It's the fastest and also the most stable-ish in a way, except for the rear. If you go higher on the rear toe, obviously it's going to make your car more stable, especially on traction and even under braking, but it's going to introduce a lot of understeer during cornering, so you'll be losing more time than you gain from this. So just keep it as it is. Suspension, I have chosen to go slightly stiffer this time around, and the reason being is because, well, one, I don't know, is it because the pedals, different inputs, the way I'm taking corners is slightly different, plus there's some FFB changes I've done recently, so maybe that's affecting the handling, but in a better way. I've gone for a stiffer front suspension around here. just so the car is a bit more planted into corners that I have to throw the car in, like turn 1 and 2. You really have to throw the car in and then, you know, get on the power as quick as possible to not lose any much time. And so yeah, 6 on the front just works nicely. Anti-roll bar, I put it up to 7 because I want the car to be a bit more stable on power, especially through the fast left right. Coming out of the first left, and then you take the second right onto the DRS straight. That's arguably the hardest corner to nail. You know, if you take the curve wrongly, or if you know, even if you take it rightly and you have too much throttle, sometimes you can spin out easily. Right height, I've kept it at 5 on the front, just nice. You can even go 6 if you feel the car is quite pointy. You know, you can always go 6, or if you feel like you're bottoming out on the curves, you can always go a click higher. The downside, the negative side of using a higher ride height on the front is that it will make your car a little more understeery. Going lower will make your car pointier. That means you will have more grip on the front of your car. So you can use this to your advantage. Don't go any lower than 5. I'd say 4 maybe is the lowest you should go around here. Otherwise, the curbs really do punish you around here. 5, 6 I think are just nice. Rear ride height again, you can go lower. It's going to make the car a little bit more stable, a bit more understeery, but it's much more stable. You go higher, you probably get better rotation through the slow speed corners, and in high speed corners, if you have understeer in high speed corners, you know, let's say coming out of fast corner and you're going on power quickly, full throttle, but the car understeers, chances are you might be having too little rear ride height. So try going up 1 click and see if that will help. So 5, 6, 5, 7, they actually all pretty much do the same thing. They kind of help, but don't go too high. Any higher than that, you start to lose a lot of straight line speed, especially in the middle sector. So 5, 5, 5, 6 is where you want to be. Brakes, 100% brake pressure as always, 50% brake bias. And in the race, you know, if you have more rear tire wear than the fronts, or if your rears are getting hotter than the front, which is a common problem here around Australia. The rear tires, the rear left tire will be very hot compared to the others. So you just want to preserve the rear left tire a bit. You can push the brake bias forward. That will help the car to, you know, use more of the front tires, and more pressure will be applied on the front. More temperatures might go to the front, but the fronts don't really overheat that much around here compared to the rear left. So 50 in qualifying is okay. 51 might be useful in the race if you need some time management to go on. Tire pressures, this will again be very subjective, will be different from person to person. The ideal pressure you want to run is minimum on the fronts, and then on the rear tires you want 2 or 3 clicks at the most. Otherwise your tires are going to overheat. And yeah, you can always try variations like, you know, going 1 click higher and whatnot. It can help you if you're very smooth with the inputs, or if you're expecting to be following another car all the while in DRS train. So probably having 1 click high tire pressure might help, as long as you're not being rough with your inputs. But again, remember, higher tire pressure kind of helps with tire wear. That means you get less tire wear. But if you go too high on the tire pressures, you lose slow speed grip, and you also lose a lot of time, because the tires may overheat a lot more easily. So safe side, minimum on the front, 2 clicks on the rear, and there you go. And that's just the setup how you can do. On the start of the race, maybe you want to go up 1 click high on the front wing if you feel you know, that will help with the front tire wear, and also you know, help the car turn a bit more, because on heavy fuel, on harder tires, it's a combo for understeer. So giving it 1 extra click of downforce on the front at the start of the race will help you a lot more. And then in the pit stop, you can always reduce it down. Right, everything else you can keep it the same. And in park firmware, there's not much you can change. For the rainy conditions, if it's going to be fully intermediates or fully wet, I always recommend going, let's say, +5 clicks of downforce if it's fully intermediate. So you can go +5, and maybe plus extra 1 click on the front wing for the intermediates. And then if it's fully wet, maybe you go +7, +8 overall, and you still be fine. The idea is, in the wets, you want to make sure you have more downforce so that you are quicker. And again, another tip, if it's going to be a full wet, as in it's going to be raining from the start till the end of the race, if you're confident, you can always go with one click higher ride height on the front and rear. This will make sure the car is sitting a bit higher and you don't get aquaplaning, and it's a bit easier to get traction and a bit easier to do braking as well. So that is the only tip I can give for the wets. Other than that, it's coming down to skills. All right. And also in the wets, you can get away, you can always use higher tire pressures. This will also help you with preserving your tires for a little bit longer, because intermediates and wet tires, sometimes, if you stretch it out with the right pressures and the right setup, you can do a zero stop in some tracks. Australia, it's pretty difficult to do that, but if you have good tire wear, good tire life, and good driving, and a well-timed safety car, maybe you can take a set of tires much longer than your rivals, maybe do one less stop. So yeah, that's it about Australia. So it will be 22/17 wings that I'm using. You can always experiment a click higher or lower just to gain extra straight line speed. Transmission 55/50, right left geometry. Suspension 6/1, 7/1 for roll bars, and 5/6 on the right height. Brakes 150. Tyre pressures minimum on the front, 2 clicks on the rear, and you'll be fine. An alternate setup is the one that I used to set this best time recently, and it also works. Back then it's almost the same, 22/17, 55/60, this, and this is the sort of a different suspension setup that I had. The one that I showed you just now, 6/1, 7/1, and this one is a bit softer, so it gives me a bit more front grip, and but it's a bit more unstable in the corners. So to compensate that, I reduced the rear ride height just to make the car a bit stable. So it's an alternate setup that you can use, and pretty much everything else is the same. So it really comes down to your personal preference here and there. You can always try it out. Any questions, as always, leave it in the comments. Join the Discord, because sometimes I reply to things in Discord. Once a while, if you need help with your hot laps, or getting ready for a league race, how to improve your lap times and whatnot, we can always help you out in the Discord as well. And yeah, that is Australia for you. See y'all next time around for who knows what track. There's a few more left to finish the series, and we'll get there very soon. Take care everyone, stay safe, and bye bye.